join me with a moment of silence, please? Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Yes, I would like to add something.
Okay, what do you want to add?
I want to add reported concerns updates.
Is that under old business or?
New business.
New business or under
Yes.
your section? You want to come under your section?
Oh, I can put it under mine.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else have anything? I'd like to add one item to the consent agenda, that is the appointment of Al Taylor to the Planning and Zoning Board. And then I'd like to add in the new business, temporary water, emergency water hookup. Anybody have any questions? Do I have a movement to accept the agenda as amended?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, approval of the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
On the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, first up, I guess we have is the public comment period, limited to items not on the agenda for tonight. Okay, we'll move along with that. Next up, the zoning administrative report. Lisa?
Yes. This report, I was not here last month, I was out of the state. So this activity report is from August 10th through today, October 11th. Currently a total of 64 homes under construction. Within the village, 59 are in the corporate limits and the remaining in the ETJ. Permit applications received for the month, there were 5 single-family residents, 1 for Fort Buckhorn, 1 Birdie Court, 15 Deer Track, 7 Brassy Lane, and 11 Oak Hill Drive. 9 certificate of occupancy were issued for homes at 162, 185, 172, and 180 Woodland Circle, 5 Birdie Court, 6 Meadow Court, 74 Richmond Road, 112 Fox Ridge, and 1 in the ETJ at 2004 Foxfire Road. Other permits issued, 5 fences, 3 swimming pools, 1 propane tank, 1 implement storage building, 1 structure alteration, and 1 accessory building. That's it.
We're building.
Anybody have any questions of Lisa?
No.
Thank you. Okay. Go on to council members' reports. First one up, Councilwoman Gregorich.
Okay, let's do the report of cash balances. And I did mention last week, what you will see is how we're getting a higher interest rate on our money market account. So we have moved a significant amount of funds out of our checking accounts and into our money market accounts. So right now, the general fund balance on hand total is $2,114,255 rounded up dollars. Of that $2 million, we have $985,209 that is in reserves. So we basically right now have 1.29 million that is not reserved. And that's so high right now, and it's going up because of tax money coming in. So we are receiving a lot of tax revenue right now.
Yep.
In the water fund, we have total balance on hand of $1,261,186.80. Of that, the reserved funds are $361,076, and not reserved is $900,110. So that's where the cash balances stand right now. The other thing, any questions about cash balances at all? Oh, the other part of the cash balances what I talked about last week was the North Carolina Management Trust. And I just wanted to get, I think, I wanted to give you a little bit of information on that. So what I did is I gave you basically an overview that was given to me by the person who gave me this information, Mr. John Fry from Capital Management, and they're out of Charlotte. And also I copied a couple of pages from the prospectus, because I figured you didn't want to read the whole prospectus. So it's basically the fund basics, what the investment details are of the fund, and what their investment policies are. There are statutes, obviously, and I did mention that last time, that we do have to follow as far as where we can invest our money. We're very limited. And it's the general statute is statute 159-30. So that says you can only invest in certain things. And this happens to be a fund that is basically, it seeks to achieve the standards of that general statute. And so it makes it something that we could look at. I am not gonna be moving any money, or I don't recommend moving any money into these funds until we finish our audit, talk to the auditor, make sure that, you know, we get a good feel for that. And I also want to make sure that there are other municipalities, who are all municipalities that are using it, that are happy with this. And it looks to me like, again, we're gonna get higher interest from this than we are from our bank, but
No risk.
there's little risk. I mean, nothing is guaranteed other than the bank. But right now, with the interest rates and the history of the fund, it's all AAA rated investments. And it's mostly government bonds,
Oh, it's bonds.
US treasuries, and guarantees on debt too, guarantees on that investments. And it's all very short term. If you look, if there are other things here, but basically 69% of the investments are in 1 to 7 day. So it's extremely short, which is great, especially in this environment. Because, and I'm not in a big hurry, because interest rates appear to be doing nothing but going up at this point. So
And how long have
they've been, this North Carolina Management Trust, or Capital Management Trust, has been in business, or has been established for roughly 40 years. And to date, they have never lost money. There have been years that it's been no interest, very similar to the banks, but they have never lost money.
What are we getting on our rates now? You said ours, what?
50 basis points,
Just 50?
50, 0.5% basically.
Right. And that is about 2.2?
Right now, it was 2.2,
Yeah.
but they're expecting it to go, it could be 3 to even 4 that they could be netting out of that.
Beats a half.
So when do you think the audit will be?
I think it's usually done sometime towards the end of October, but I haven't heard anything. I haven't gotten any updates on that.
I talked to Sharon, and she said probably the end of October.
Yeah, I think that's traditionally what it is, so. Any other questions?
No, no.
Any other questions for Janice? Okay. Next up, Councilwoman Nauman, Streets and Parks.
Regarding the storm damage cleanup, landscaper, I think, did a pretty good job, got on top of everything right away. We still have some areas that he's gonna be working on, but again, based on his time and when he can get to them, but he pretty much cleaned up everything very quickly, I thought. Did anybody have any other areas of concern regarding village streets, or areas that we think we need to look at, or I need to have him look at? No?
But we do have a lot of sand on.
The sand?
Yeah,
Okay,
To be swept.
As related to the storm damage?
yeah,
yeah.
okay, I'll make him aware of that. And, yeah, he had a lot of catch up to do. And, okay, so I also wanted then to report on, updates for areas of concern that we received through the village. I think I just want people to be aware that when a report of concern comes through the village, and depending on what area it is, and I seem to get most of them, that we do look at them and I do address the issues. And I wanted to bring everybody up to date on a couple of the areas that I've looked at and what we came up with. One of the areas of concern that came up through Lisa was the ruts alongside of Woodland Circle as you were going east. And there was a pretty big rut alongside the road. That has been repaired. We've gotten it filled in. I know it takes a while, but it did get filled in. There is another area on the north side of Woodland Circle as you're coming out. There's a hole, and I'm gonna have to get a asphalt company in there to fill that in. Yeah, Don and I talked about it, and it is not, it's not state
You
road.
can't fill it.
It's not a county road. So I'm gonna have to find somebody to come in and just do that, and I'll work on that. So that was one area, and that's been addressed. Ridge Road was another concern that came through. Just recently during the storm, we had a big tree fall across the road, right across from 23 Ridge Road. The fire department was called, they cut it in half, but unfortunately what they did was they pushed the tree on either side of the road. So part of it is hanging over. I spoke to two companies. I have one, it's gonna, if it isn't removed by the end of today, it will be removed tomorrow. And we're gonna try and find out who the landowner is, because the tree is on their property, and pass the costs on to them for the removal. So that's that one. We had another person at one of our meetings who brought up an area of concern on Bobolink regarding stormwater drainage issues. And I just wanted to update everybody about that and what has taken place regarding that concern. This concern was first noted to the council back in November of 2020. And Mr. Mayor did address the issue with her when he was in charge of Parks and Streets, and discussed the issue and discussed that it was not a village issue, that we could not take care of it. Fast forward to 2022, I received a report of concern regarding the same issue. I met with the homeowner. The resident at that time explained once again that the village was not responsible for fixing the issue. A few weeks later, I received a call from the homeowner. We were experiencing major rainfall, and she asked me to come over and take pictures of the problem, which I did. I then, not as a council person, but as a resident, called 3 different contractors to come and look at the issue and see if they could give her some ideas as to what needed to be done to fix the issue. I went through those recommendations with her. She did tell me at that time that she had also spoken to a contractor, and that contractor had also told her the same thing. So, I just want to assure people that when we get an area of concern, we do address it. And so I wanted to bring everybody up to date as to what has taken place regarding at least the 3 that I've received. Any questions?
Anybody have anything,
No,
Janet?
thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, Public Safety, Councilman Nelson.
Police Department, Chief Shu is here to give his presentation.
How many times I heard that in school? I'm gonna start by apologizing. I've got quite the list here to kind of go over today. I know I'm using pretty quick, so just bear with me. I was contacted by Arlene McHugh about the Halloween festival at the park. She requested that we have an officer present if possible. So I've got 2 officers lined up for that event. For the
For the Halloween trick or treat? Okay.
Trunk or treat, so we've got that taken care of. The car situation, we were kind of in limbo last time we met about where we're at on the, what we were gonna do about purchasing a new patrol car. I did finally get a halfway decent, well, considering, quote for a new Charger. and we do have that ordered. The expected build date on it for those orders are December. We're probably looking somewhere January, February, getting the car. With that being said, we went ahead and made the repairs to the Tahoe that needed to be done. So the Tahoe is back operational, and it shouldn't have any issues when it gets past the Jesse the first of the year.
Thanks, Chief.
So, just trying to look out.
No, you weren't ready.
He'll collect.
Yeah. Also, it's pretty busy time right now with the grants. I just closed out this year's grant, about 30 minutes before I came over here. And we filled out the paperwork last week, Janice and I, for the upcoming grant, the 2023 grant, which should come open maybe the end of this month. So that's gonna put us over the $100,000 mark for grants since we started.
Wow, that's very nice.
We also went ahead and rolled our points over for the Governor's Highway Safety Program initiative that we do every year. Essentially, for every checkpoint we do, participating in Booze It and Lose It campaigns put on through the state, click their ticket. We were able to get about $7,000 worth of credit for new cameras and radars for this coming year. So we went ahead and banked those.
So is that why you do the checks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever you see us doing checkpoints and stuff, a lot of that gets also credit for points through the state.
Oh, okay, good.
So we should be getting about $7,000 worth of equipment this coming year, 2023.
Nice.
Some of you have seen the new officer out working, Michael Mosquito. We got his paperwork back last week. Lisa was able to get him sworn in. Michael comes to us from Lee County Sheriff's Office with a little over 10 years of experience. He has experience in narcotics, patrol, just a vast array of experience in law enforcement. He also did a short stint for Apex PD. So some of you have probably seen him out and about, out on the road. I know some of you saw him doing a checkpoint with Derek over the weekend on Richmond Road, which is, by the way, something you'll probably start seeing a little more of now that we're full staffed and we can kind of get out, and officer safety isn't such a big issue with just one officer at a time. We're really going to start enhancing the traffic enforcement on these roads coming through. While we're on that subject, I'll go ahead and report on the numbers. Up to date, we have stopped 1,103, actually 1,104 vehicles for the year. I just stopped one before we came in. I gave them 2 citations, so that puts us up to, actually that puts us at 1,250 citations on the button for the year, which also netted 50 arrests from those traffic stops, physical arrests taken them to Moore County Jail. So we've been busy trying to make sure that we're addressing, like you said, these complaints about speeding that come in through reported concern, social media, XYZ. The numbers show we're definitely out there trying to take care of this. A couple of things that I've kind of seen and I want to bring up to the council, and you can answer whether it's already been addressed or not. Windy Ridge, I was riding through once the road has opened up, and one concern I have, and I know this is fairly early, and it may already be planned, but is there any kind of plan for a guardrail on that backside?
We'll bring that up whenever they present a plat.
I see a huge safety risk.
You mean like over there?
No, the backside.
On the backside where the drainage pond is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're coming out,
I could really see someone coming down that hill and there being a little patch of ice at the bottom and them.
Are we allowed to drive down there now?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it's not
into
our
the
road,
middle? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
It
I
is
wanted
what
to see
I'm
what
talking
it was, okay.
about. You can't miss it. It's a huge ravine off the back.
Oh,
So
but no, that's a good point.
I just see it being a safety issue, and I just want to make sure that it's addressed. The flag got demolished during the hurricane, and we should have got that down. I'm gonna take that one on the chin. We usually try to get right here at Town Hall. So I don't know if we know the dimensions, if we can get one ordered or whatnot, but we'll be glad to put it back up and get it back up there. But it was torn and tattered, so we've retired that flag and took it to where it needed to get there.
You know what, now that you bring that up, I'll have to look at the one at the park.
Yeah, I didn't even look at that one. As you can probably see looking at me, body
The
camera.
new camera.
So I've worked the last 2 days trying to get some policy implemented for us to go by and to have something on the books for these body cameras. We've had them up and operational now for about a month. Basically just trying to learn the system and the ins and outs. It's definitely a learning curve, especially for a dinosaur like me that, you know, I'm not used to getting out dealing with someone and doing this before I do it.
Smile.
So those are up and operational, and they've already been a little bit of a help to us in this situation. So we've got those up and going. Monday, yesterday, Lieutenant Garner participated in a domestic violence roundtable meeting that was hosted at Sand Hills Community College in their auditorium. And this was essentially a Q&A session for the community to kind of put us in the hot seat and kind of see where we stood on domestic violence issues. And he did a very good job, especially with it being his first time in front of a big crowd. So if you see him, give him an attaboy. Outside of that, that's really about all I have. I do have a copy of the numbers up to today. I'll give everybody a copy.
Thank you.
Is there any way you and Lisa get together and have this posted on the website?
Sure. Yeah.
Because people seem to think that you guys aren't doing your job. I mean,
That's nothing new.
just a few, but I know you are. This is a heck of a sheet.
But yeah, I mean, it shows there, we've got roughly, right at 5,000 calls for service for the year, so.
Yeah, I think this would be good for people to see.
But, if there's any questions on that, feel free to contact me, email me, however you want to do it, we'll sit down and discuss it with you. Any questions from the council?
When you're having your officers at the trunk and treat, is Maverick gonna be there as well?
Sure, yeah, and Lieutenant Garner and I had already discussed, trying to get him out there. I think he's gonna bring, his kids with him and kind of have 2 officers on duty, but have Gary and Maverick out there in more of a social type setting.
While he's doing that, can he do like a mini demonstration? When Megan had him, I was at the park one day and she was there with him, and she kind of demonstrated for me him finding a wallet in the weeds.
Yeah, we can
just something simple where they can actually see him in action.
Absolutely, I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's very impressive for people to see.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people like to see is the finding the keys, finding the wallet,
Yeah.
little small things that we just can't see with our eyes. So, yes, absolutely, I'll make sure he's out there.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
Chief, I have a question. What's the store closing?
So, this was probably the year before I started, so I'm gonna say 05, maybe 04. The store was robbed at gunpoint right as it was closing. And one of the things I brought over from Aberdeen is if you have an officer out there 20 to 30 minutes before the store closes, you eliminate the opportunity for someone to go in there at store closing and rob them with their money. So for the last 20 to 30 minutes before they close, we'll park the car in the parking lot, go inside, do some foot patrol, be seen, and gives the officer time to do his reports, catch up on some things throughout the day, and still be seen to deter crime.
Awesome. What great, that's awesome. Thank you.
I talked to Lieutenant Garner a couple days ago, and he said he got a speeder on Woodland Circle, 65 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
65 miles, and it was a resident.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the resident has a court date, so.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. My golf cart only goes 21.
And like I said, that's, this stems from citizens complaining about speeds in the area, so, we're out trying to be seen and do what we can about it.
Well, he didn't give him a pass, but
You got a big tickets.
good.
That was gonna cost dearly, because that's a 25-mile-an-hour zone, so
Yep,
it's gonna be fines and points.
yep.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank
You
you.
got it? All right, thank you.
Okay, the fire department, I want to bring up a couple things. During the storm, fire department had 19 people on duty the night before the storm hit. That was volunteers and, of course, full-time employees. And they actually bunked here at the West End Fire Station. 19, that's a lot of force. So anyway, we had 2 trees down in the village that actually fell on houses, so they had to take and do that. And several trees in the road. And one thing about Jen, you mentioned one tree that went down, where they sawed it up All they do is clear it, they don't do anything, they just clear it so that the traffic
And they did a
goes
good
through.
job.
Yeah. So, and they had, fire alarm, calls, motor accidents in the village. He didn't break it all down, but they were very busy, so they did a good job. And that's all I have.
Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, next up, Water Department, Councilman Samuel.
Yeah, I'm the voice of bad news.
Yes.
We had the Underwood, the driller came out to our site down here and came up zero. So that's the bad news. The good news is that we do have a line on another one coming in through Underwood as well. I had heard some rumblings about this before I got on, but it's over there by on the east side. We're getting the exact location. It's what I think it is, and the mayor and I talked a little bit about it. I believe it's a piece of property that's owned by someone who's not here in the village, and but I can't really report that to you all until we know exactly. But I believe that's the one that we're going to be returning to. So more on the next meeting when we.
That's not in the village.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, actually it is in the village.
On the park there.
Yeah. So and without knowing anything, I don't want to say too much, but we're potentially going to look at if it is in fact this one, having to purchase the property. But we'll have to take that when it comes. The good news, if there is any good news about that, is that was gonna cost the village an awful lot of money to get us from where the well was there off of Hoffman up to our tap-in point, but, so we're not gonna obviously have that expense. I think that we also are going to forego any other exploration on the McSweeney property, based on, based on what we discovered here yesterday.
Okay, I'll have to let him know.
Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to mention is that we had, because of COVID, been way behind in meters. And as of today, we now have 48 complete meters.
Wow.
And they've been coming in piecemeal, but we now are 48 good meters, and really it's coming in a good time because we have those properties that are waiting for them, and we're going to be having quite a bit coming up. So good news on that account. And Jesse continues to do more and more, taking things off of both Dave McHugh's plate as well as Sharon's plate. And I just wanted to report to the council that he has met and exceeded in a lot of cases our expectations as far as an employee for the village. And I am just very excited about how he has matured in his job. So that's all I have.
Well, I've had some dealings with him, and he's been very good, very responsive.
Nice to hear. Thank you.
I
Any
have one, do you happen to know what the backlog is for the installations, what the time backlog is right now?
Not at the top of my head. I saw the report. I didn't make any notes, unfortunately, but I can get you that information.
I'm just curious,
How
I'm
many of the
wondering.
48 are only accounted for?
Well, now 48, that's because we couldn't get the meters, correct?
Correct. That's
Right.
correct.
So 48 meters came in, and do we have a backlog of what, 60 or?
Oh, no, I would say roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Low 20s.
Yeah, low
Okay, so we
20.
have meters in surplus right now. Great.
Yes, yeah, as of yesterday.
Nice.
Anybody else?
Anybody have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, mayor's report, I'm just gonna skip down to some of the old business and open up some of that discussion. The personnel policy update as regards to the reimbursement of training funds for people who leave within a year of either their hiring date or within a year of completed training. And everybody's had a copy of that.
Yes.
And if we're good to go with that, tie that right in with the personnel policy changes that Councilwoman Gregorich changed last night. I'd like to get that done. Anybody have any questions with the comments that I put in?
No,
No.
no, good job. Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
We need to make that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get a motion to accept those changes,
I'll make the motion that we approve it.
and we'll change that to shall.
Shall.
Instead of
Yeah.
may.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed. Okay. Windy Ridge, just a quick update. We now know who the actual contractor is, we just can't get him on the phone. Because we want to ask about when we're gonna get the final plat, talk about the guardrails and the performance bonds. But we can't get him to answer the phones. 3 different numbers.
Who are you trying to get?
Yeah.
She works for.
Jill Riley. And she works, she works for Ralph Huff and Wells Alderman.
I
We
spoke
called
with-
3 different numbers for her.
Right, I spoke to the contractor, Wells Alderman,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he advised me that it would be probably close to 30 days for the final plan.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, then we got some stuff we gotta make
Yeah.
up on.
But we don't have any word on the
No.
performance guarantee yet. Okay. Like to, and we've talked about this in general, about the water technician that we've hired to use that person in ancillary duties such as maybe checking we'll say as an example, somebody puts in a fence, they get a permit. We would have him go out and make sure that they built the fence correctly.
Yes.
And Gary and I have talked about this. This is certainly not his priority. His priority is water, but I think we need to think that that's what we want to do with him as well.
So I spoke with him today, actually I spoke to both him and Sharon. And in terms of, first of all, I think this is a good idea. But I wanted to make sure that we, as the council, understand that we're gonna be adding things, or I should start changing his job description and adding this onto it. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying that we
Yeah,
need to
do
be
it.
aware that we're adding to his duties,
Correct.
which I think that we'll just need to talk through a little bit more about that. But I think as long as the council is okay with accepting the fact that his number 1 priority is water,
Yes.
he has the background needed as far as construction and understanding construction to be able to do the inspections that we would need to be, that would need to be done. And it seems that it would make sense that from Lisa's perspective, as she received a request for a permit that would require the assessment of property or of building materials, etc., that Jesse is qualified to be able to do those assessments. So as I talked through that with him, he felt like, and I agree, that right now, he's got those little periods in between his duties that he's doing today. Given his 5-day work week, he's got time to be able to go out and do those. What we would, I think, need to lay down as far as us understanding, or getting something maybe in writing on how, what the process is. So for example, a person comes in, they say they want to build an outbuilding. There are, I think, what I guess is, Lisa, you can fill in the blanks for me, but I'm assuming they do that, you hand them the ordinance and say, these are the requirements.
that information's on the application itself,
Okay.
right?
And then they pay their fee or whatever the case may be. It would then be up to, I would guess, you or the resident to be able to say, I'm ready for an inspection, or however that would work. But we would have to
Set up a process.
we'd have to set up a process, and I don't think there is one.
I don't think there is, but we need to set it
But
up.
we need to set that. I'm going to be
Yeah.
making a recommendation here in the new business about pushing something that's very relevant to this onto our working session. And I'm wondering if we could do that as it relates to this piece. First of all, I agree with what you're saying. I don't know if there's anything that needs to be formally done. I agree, I think he could take that on, no problem, but I would ask that we maybe work through it on our working
I
session,
think that's correct.
those
I think that's-
details.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's a good approach.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of the concerns upon inspection, a lot of them are also cosmetic, or, you know, they're aesthetics, or have, you know, is the fence the right height, is it, you know, far enough from the setback? I mean, I know a lot of, even HOAs, they have, ARB, that they just have checklists, and they go through, they don't have experts, they have basically residents who are volunteering, and they go through the checklist, and, you know, yes, you've done it, and it's the right materials, it's constructed at the right height, right setbacks. It can, I think, with a checklist, you can make it pretty easy, you know?
Yeah.
And then just sign off, or if, you know, something's not right, it's just like, you know, the propane tanks aren't screened, or, you know, your HVAC units aren't properly screened. You know, it's just a checklist of, well, you gotta get that done, you know?
Each item would be different checklists.
Right, right.
One thing, is there might be some that have been there for a while, for instance, for the propane tank. And
How do we
I know
wanna
somebody
address
might
that?
call and say, this has not been screened. Well, yeah, how do we've gotta figure out what we're doing, or addressing something that was existing before we have the ordinance, or,
Yeah, and
well, that's the whole.
And I actually have a proposition, a proposal, if we could wait to the new business section as it relates to that. But yes, I agree, it doesn't have to be
It
complicated at all.
doesn't have to be, because it's pretty simple, it's either you've met the, you know.
Or you haven't.
You
Yeah.
haven't, and, you know, it's not, I don't think it's if people don't wanna do it, they probably just don't know about it, you know,
Right.
for the most part,
I would agree.
you know.
I would agree. There may be times, though, that we're gonna have to, and we'll talk about this maybe if you guys agree in the work session. For example, we had the land clearing issue that I don't wanna re-bubble up again, but, you know, if somebody's gonna clear cut, Jesse would not be the guy that could come up and say, yeah, this is gonna be a problem. I mean, as far as a flood hazard or anything like that, somebody is gonna have to have some expertise in that to be able to say, yes, clear cutting a property is not gonna be a problem to the environment. So I just throw that out, to,
Well, it's not only the environment, it's the water drainage issues.
yeah, the other
neighborhoods,
residents
yeah.
and things like that.
Mhm.
Good.
Okay, we good on that, so that's a work session item.
We're gonna be busy.
Last thing to mention under old business, if Janet could just give a real brief thing on the meeting, update on the meeting we had with USA Pools earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting, I mean, we had a lot of questions, Lisa was also involved in the meeting. They answered our questions, we have a lot of information to dissect. We just got the revenue numbers from the pool for this year, and I don't wanna get into too much detail, because I think this is going to be a work session item that we have to start looking at sooner rather than later. I know Lisa, when she was getting things ready for the pool, I think you said you started in February, and we do have some big repairs that have to be taken care of also. So we have to look at what they are offering, what we want to use in terms of the services versus not use. We want to customize the program or tweak it a little bit more than what they have, because they're offering items that we already do, which might help reduce the price, not much, but anyway. So anyway, long story short, we're looking at anywhere between $121,000 to $125,000 next year in a budget if we decide to go this route.
That's just for their service,
Yes.
That would be everything.
that's everything.
They
That would
provide
be-
the employees, they pay the employees.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and that 121 to 125, I included our projected costs for
Because-
the pool for next year.
Cause last year our total expenses were almost, well, they were over 100,000.
Part of
So,
that was the parking lot.
Yeah, we had the parking lot in there.
okay, that's true. Okay, so it was, total expenses were 62,000.
Yeah,
Sounds right.
Well, and then it's operating at a loss basically of 86,000.
yes,
So we're, just so,
yes, yes.
just so we know,
So that's why I think we need to really sit down and discuss this. As I think I mentioned at the last meeting, I don't have the number off the top of my head right now, I think I said we had about 200 and, well, here I have it. 189 residents that utilized the pool, and that was just names. I don't know how many people were under those names. We had 43 non-residents. So we were throwing numbers around and figured, okay, if we have children, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. You know, so we went on the high end of, say, between 300 and 400 residents use the pool. But still, at that, you're only looking at approximately 0.13% using the pool. If we're using about approximately 1,500 residents. So this is an issue we really need to delve into, and I know it's a great asset, I really do.
but it is an expensive asset. And
Yes.
it's just so, I'm just a fact, I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm
It
not
is,
making
yeah.
a comment,
No,
I'm just
and
telling.
I spent some time talking to, I couldn't get through to Bisco. We only have actually 2 public pools, one in Bisco and one in Southern Pines.
Yeah, I didn't think anyone else had
Yeah,
them.
so I spoke to the people in Southern Pines and picked their brain a little bit today, basically how they price, et cetera. And, so I can go over that at the work session, but Bisco did not return my call. I'll call them again tomorrow, but I just wanted to get that. I mean, we're in the ballpark in terms of what we're charging to get in. I was asking them what their procedures were, and, so I'd like to go over those are pretty interesting. But, okay, so that's all I have right now.
Okay, on to new business. Kind of new business, kind of old business. Foxfire Village Appearance Committee, or Commission.
That's me.
We need,
That's me.
Got it.
So basically, all I want to do is introduce this topic and then ask the council to look at adding it to our work session. So this is in relationship to the other issues that I brought up as it relates to appearance and as it relates to zoning. I think we talked about the zoning pieces. I think with Jesse, we can take care of some of that stuff, if not all of it. This is in regards to the Appearance Commission. Now, I've heard it in different ways, neither here nor there. I think there has been some group of people that have been designated to be a part of this, and I don't know any of the history other than it seems to have kind of fallen apart. And what I'm proposing, based on this, and I'm going to read just a little blurb here, so you understand what we're talking about here. But what this is in regards to our code of ordinances, in regards to the commission. And the brief thing that I want to call out says the commission shall consist of 7 members. All members of the commission shall be residents of the village's area of planning and zoning jurisdiction. Where possible, appointments will be made in such a manner as to maintain on the commission members who have special training or experience in a design or planning field such as architecture, landscape design, horticulture, city planning, or a related field. Membership of the commission is declared to be an office that may be held currently with any other elected or appointed official or office pursuant to the Constitution. So basically, what I'm looking, or what I'd like to ask the council to take up on their work session, and I would be happy to lead the discussion, is in terms of talking about what it is that this commission is by statute or by ordinance, what it is supposed to be, and then talk through if that's something that we want to do as a village, or if we want to amend, whatever the case may be. But I think everybody that I've talked to personally on this, as it relates to the appearance of the village, agrees that we've kind of got a little bit of a gap here. We don't really have the opportunity to do the things that we would want to in terms of the appearance of the village. There's a lot of things that have become lax, and certainly, I think anybody that's driven around the village can probably see things that we shouldn't have allowed, and they have been allowed. And I think they've been allowed because the commission has kind of fallen through and gone away. And maybe that's what we want, I don't know. But that's what I would like to, that was the purpose of bringing this up, was to ask the council if we would like to take this on. Again, I would be happy to lead the discussion at the next work session.
So is this commission made up of volunteers?
Yes.
That's the hard part.
Yep. But I believe that there are some out there already that would be interested.
Well, Gary, just a little, I served on the appearance committee years ago, and just a little history. I think the big reason it kind of fell apart, because the biggest thing we used to do was review the aesthetic, because we used to be able to control aesthetics of homes, layout of homes, not having duplicate house styles, within a certain number of homes, and that, obviously, the state took all those, abilities away from us. So it kind of, that was their big main function. And then, when that reversed, they really, I think, just lost sight of the other things as far as like, the landscaping, making sure your items were covered as far as your HVAC and your propane tank, because those ordinances have been around for a long time. And I think most people just followed them because that's what, that was just part of the process. And then, I think that's really why it fell apart, because it kind of lost its meaning, its major meaning, which was the housing. And so I really do believe that we should be, we should have someone who's really following those ordinances and making sure that people are, living up to the ordinances that the community was founded on.
Yeah, and I was ignorant in understanding who enforced what ordinances. I kind of lumped them all together, and again, I apologize for those that I had offended on that, but clearly we have, I think, a good beginning foundation between Jesse working with the with the zoning issues, or with the the permitting, sorry, and then this aesthetic piece. And there are quite a few things that are still in our ordinances that relate to our village in terms of how they look, how it appears. And so I appreciate what you said, that, yeah, I can believe it all kind of fell away. So, what do you think?
Put that on there.
Sounds good.
No, I think we should do it for
Busy
sure.
work session.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Busy
so
work
I'll
session.
prepare to lead that discussion.
One last thing on new business, we've been approached by a non-resident who's had a well completely dry up, and they've asked for a temporary emergency hookup to our water system. We have talked to the lawyer, and he feels that this is acceptable with an agreement with this person, so we'd like to move forward on that. If I have anybody want to?
Fine with me.
Well, that's at no cost to the village.
There's no cost to the village, no cost to the
How
village,
long?
no cost to the village. Okay, do I have a motion to accept that?
I make a motion to accept it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public comment period for anything that was on the agenda.
Did I miss something? Did we do this?
Yeah, we did that first.
We did that?
We did
Okay,
the
I'm
consent
sorry.
agenda, yeah, we did that.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Up to the law.
My name is Tom McClellan, and I used to be in charge of the appearance
Address, address.
What's your address?
committee. You know where I live,
Where do you live at?
3 Dogwood Court.
Here we go.
Okay. I used to run the appearance committee, and I stopped running it when I got AFib. So that's kind of when things fell apart, just for clarification. Okay, and we never handled propane tanks, and we never got involved with outbuildings being screened, you know, things like that. That was never part of at least the direction that I had when I took over the appearance committee. What we did do is we arranged the pine cone pickup, we trimmed trees, we repaired fencing, and did things like that. Now, there were a group of ladies here that would plant flowers, okay?
I need them back.
Yeah, and they did a lovely job. So, and they were not part of the appearance committee, but they did it on their own. And they just got donations from different people here in the village that, you know, paid for the flowers, things like that. So, that was it.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you,
Tom, it was the city fence, or the village fence that you fixed, not,
That's
not,
correct.
right.
It's a village fence.
The one that's gone now.
You want to go?
That's correct, yes.
All except in front of the village hall.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Okay, Mary, you had your hand up first, and then
I'll pass.
pass, okay. Come on up. Never mind.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Lathrop at 1 Magnolia Circle. Have a water question. With all the new residents we're getting, and that I assume we're gonna get a lot more based on what I see around, do we have enough water to support that? Is that part of the process in approving new building, or what?
Well, I'll answer your question real quickly. Just saying that that's why we're looking for a new well.
Okay,
Make sure we have enough.
okay. I'm just wondering.
Okay, yeah, we're not ignoring it.
I'd also like to add that the mayor and I met with Moore County, and we talked about water, and we had discussions as it relates to the aquifer that we're on top of.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the Moore County engineers, there is no concern that aquifer, where we're at, is running low.
Okay.
So to the mayor's point, we are anticipating growth. We're doing very well with our wells right now. We're sustaining at a great level in terms of how they're operating, how much they're operating. But to the mayor's point, we need to be leaning forward as we continue to get new residents.
I think I remember a meeting way in the past where we had someone that came in, they had presentations and everything discussing the water. You remember that? Okay, all right, I just wanted to be sure, so I'm not gonna run out of
Okay,
water.
You're okay.
But conservation is always a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
Gary,
trust
didn't you
you.
tell me that our wells are running like at 40%, and we're using like 80,000 gallons of our 200,000 gallon tank a day, which during the summer, which is high usage, so we're in good shape at 40%.
He's trying to look forward.
I would think.
I'm glad. Thank you.
We have any other comments or questions? Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting? Oh, got more, okay, Barbara.
I hate to do this.
I didn't see it, didn't see you back there.
You were hiding, Barb.
She might be the bicycle lady.
Nope.
Barbara Kula, 4 Foxfire Circle. Concerning the pool, there's not a lot of people using it, I take it. You're not considering closing it, are you?
We have discussion that will be taking place, and, you know, we're gonna try everything we can to keep it open. It's a great asset for this community.
Well, of course, all the ones that use it think so too, but, okay, just wanted to
Okay.
not close it down.
Thank you.
Hi.
Did I miss anybody else? Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
All, the meeting is adjourned at 17:25.
Good, how are you? So I saw it only lasted about 5 months before you